And welcome back here to Sanctuary Cove, this magnificent venue for the IBM-ATP Tour World Doubles Finals being played here this week. It's been an extraordinary week of tennis, off-court activities that included a magnificent John Farnham concert at the Hyatt Regency Hotel here at Sanctuary Cove. We've had cocktail parties in that country club right there this week that players have participated in with sponsors and media alike, and it's been a tremendous week all round. What we're interested though is in this final, and a quick look at the records this year of the combatants. Forget and Hlasek have defeated Casal and Sanchez. Stuttgart indoors, straight sets, that was 6-3, 6-2, so pretty comfortable win it was to the Swiss-French combination. And Brad Druitt, they've been in pretty good form this week as well. The round-robin competition, Forget and Hlasek were undefeated. Can they go all the way and take this final today?
Well, I think so, Jeff. They've certainly been the form team this week and even the last 2 or 3 months on the World Tour. They've come home the second half of the year with some fantastic performances, and I believe they're going to be very tough to beat today. Although Casal Sanchez are a formidable team on their own, they've won almost 30 career titles together, so they can't be counted out. They're probably a better team on clay. They won the French Open this year on clay. But I think on this hard surface, I'd have to look to Forget and Hlasek and their power winning out in the end.
Yes, Casal and Sanchez, very exciting fellows to watch they are, particularly Sanchez. He's a scrambler. He loves making the running passing shots. Plenty of topspin lobs we'll see from him as we have a look at the players making their way from the locker room, meandering down next to the pool. A few shots from the press prior to their arrival, walking there with tournament referee and supervisor Ed Hardesty. So not far away now from the beginning of this best-of-5 set final, and a tremendous match it should be as well. Casal and Sanchez have done well this week. Can they go one step further? We're about to find out. Let's hear a little bit more about these players and welcome them on with Tim Webster.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome, please, for the World Doubles Final onto this beautiful court at Sanctuary Cove, Sergio Casal and Emilio Sánchez, Guy Forget and Jakob Hlasek.
So, Brad, I was mentioning before, Casal and Sanchez in their round-robin series here this week, they were in what was called the Hode and Rosewall group with Davis, Pate, Leach and Pugh and Broad and Muller. They won 2 matches, losing only one to Leach and Pugh, this year's Wimbledon champions. So they had a minor setback there, but a tremendous 5-set victory yesterday over Connell and Michibata. Do you think the form they showed yesterday will be able to be sustained again here this afternoon?
Well, yes, they showed yesterday that they can create a lot of opportunities for themselves. They make a lot of returns. That's their real strength. They've both got adequate serves for doubles. They don't go for big, powerful serves. It's more the 3/4 pace kickers. But really, you'll see some fantastic returning, especially from Emilio Sánchez. You can see him there with the headband on. He's probably the class player on the court today. He's ranked number 8 in the world in singles and number 9 in the world in doubles. In fact, last week he played in the world singles finals in Frankfurt. So that was a great achievement. He was the only player to qualify for both the singles and doubles end-of-year finals. So he really is a fantastic player and someone to watch out for today.
Well, he's certainly done some travelling, hasn't he? Frankfurt last week, out to Sanctuary Cove in Australia this week, and no doubt back to Spain, his homeland, next week. So these fellows chalking up plenty of miles or kilometres in search of their career. And all of these fellows, true professionals, the very best in doubles in the world. The top 8 teams, in fact, started here at Sanctuary Cove on Wednesday. 4 were eliminated in the round-robin competition, such that the remaining 4 began the semi-finals yesterday. We had a fantastic 5-set match yesterday that Connell and Michibata bowed out in against Sanchez and Casal, and then we had 4 sets of terrific tennis between Davis and Pate and Forget and Hlasek last evening before we ran out of light, and the 5th and deciding set was played here this morning beginning at 10 o'clock, and it saw Forget and Hlasek run out the winners 6-4 in that 5th set. So there's been a slight delay while those players have had a chance to rest, recover, get some lunch into them before they can feel comfortable about returning to the court and giving of their best here this afternoon. So the 5-minute warm-up period will take place, and to hear a little bit more again about the players, here's Tim Webster.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, on the right-hand side of the umpire's chair, Sergio Casal and Emilio Sanchez. A brilliant year behind them brings them to the world final here at Sanctuary Cove. Emilio, of course, is a very fine singles player, top 10, top 20 in the world for many years. He's won 9 titles in his career, 25, born in Madrid in Spain. Sergio is 28. He was born in Barcelona in Spain, of course, too. Very accomplished, these two. They won 8 doubles titles in '88, including the US Open. They won another in '89, and this year they really have killed them. Semi-finalist in Moscow, finalist in Wellington and Barcelona. They won the French Open and also won in Athens, Rome, Gstaad, Estoril and Hilversum. They lost to Leach and Pugh in the first round here, then they beat Broad and Muller and Davis and Pate, and yesterday won in 5 sensational sets over the Canadians Connell and Michibata. Seated number 6 here at Sanctuary Cove, from Spain, Sergio Casal and Emilio Sanchez. And on the left-hand side of the umpire's chair, these guys have even been busy this morning. Guy Forget and Jakob Hlasek only teamed up semi-permanently this year, and what a year they've had. Guy was born in Casablanca in Morocco, but these days he lives in Marseille in France. He's 25. Jakob was born in Prague in Czechoslovakia, but he lives nowadays in Zurich in Switzerland. Previously, he was a finalist in '87 at the French Open with Yannick Noah, and Jakob concentrated on singles in those days, but this year they've reached the semi-finals at Key Biscayne, Adelaide, Cincinnati and the US Open, and they've won the doubles in Stockholm, Stuttgart, Indian Wells, Long Island and Tokyo. Now here, they've beaten Connell and Michibata, Aldrich and Visser, and Kale and Kratzmann, and this morning they completed the marathon 5-setter against Davis and Pate. Seated number 5 at Sanctuary Cove, from France and Switzerland, Guy Forget and Jakob Hlasek. And your chair umpire, make him welcome, is from dear old Australia, Richard Ings.
Well, plenty of warmth in the reception for umpire Richard Ings there, and certainly plenty of warmth in the reception for all players out on court. I think the spectators here today have in the main been here right throughout the week. They've witnessed, well, doubles tennis at its very best, as we would expect from the best doubles players in the world, and of course, as always, so many sharp reactions, quick exchanges, and plenty of crossing and scissors movements, Brad Druitt, in their play. Do you think there's more scissors and the like today, this week, perhaps, than there's been in years gone by?
Well, certainly the players use the scissors movement a lot more than they did 10 or 20 years ago. They use hand signals. They talk a lot, letting each other know where they're going to serve, where they're going to try and return. Just trying to keep those communication lines open. In a big match like this today, it's important to do that. Keep talking to your partner, letting him know what you plan to do, what you'd like to be able to do. So I expect to see a great match out there today. It'll be a match really with the power of Hlasek and Forget against the scrambling ability of Casal Sanchez. So I think we'll see a lot of great rallies, and I hope all 4 players play to the best of their ability.
Well, apart from the world title that's at stake, of course, and this is the World Championship. It is the end-of-year tour for the top 8 finishers. There's rather a large amount of prize money at stake as well, $100,000 going to the winner of this match alone. And you add that to the dollars that these players have already accrued this week by virtue of their other winning performances. And Hlasek and Forget, they're undefeated. They got $25,000 for each victory in the round-robin competition, which came to $75,000 in all. They won their semi-final yesterday for another $50,000. And if they win today, it will take their week's paycheck as a team to $225,000. And that's not too shabby, Bradley, is it?
It certainly isn't. It'll pay for their airfare home, I'm sure, and a good holiday, which they would have earned. It's been a long, hard year for all these players. 11 months straight on the tour, travelling all over the world, probably half a dozen times. So they'll be looking forward to a well-earned break after this week. But right now, they'll just be concentrating on getting out there, getting fired up and playing well today.
Yes, the ATP Tour that has taken over the running of men's tennis this year has determined that there should be a break at the end of the year before the next year's circuit begins. So this is effectively the last event of the regular ATP Tour, and the schedule begins again well, at the very end of December, early January in New Zealand, I believe, Bradley.
Yes, the first two tournaments are Wellington and Adelaide, and obviously they are the lead-up tournaments to the Australian Open in mid-January.
So this is the culmination for these fellows of a year's activity, certainly in doubles. Most of them have been striving to reach this event here all year, being aware that prize money was beefed up substantially this year, and the re-emphasis, if you will, of the governing bodies of the ATP certainly to put a little more prestige back into the doubles art of tennis. So very, very important match for these fellows. They'd like, as I said, of course, with the prize money, the prestige to be known as the best doubles combination in the world. So the 5-minute warm-up is complete. It will be Guy Forget of France to start things off for his team. The best of 5 sets, all tie-breakers, and everything to play for.
Love 15. Love 30.
Well, tense beginning, Brad, from Forget and Hlasek.
It's surprising because Forget really played so well this morning in the completion of that semi-final. He served with great power and authority. What he needs here is a first serve, get some confidence back.
Well, he got that first serve that he was looking for, and Hlasek had to be very careful with the volley. Have a look at it here to see that Hlasek isn't reaching over the net. He has to wait till the ball crosses his side before he can make contact, so no problems.
Well, you can look out for Sergio Casal's backhand today. He has a magnificent backhand return. Just came up on that one a little bit, but I think you'll find he'll make far more of those than he misses. Forget will have to watch out serving there too often. That's just sheer power. Nothing Emilio Sánchez could do about that. One of the biggest serves in the game when it goes in.
Well, not much wrong with that swinger either, so in the end, a confident beginning for Forget and Hlasek. 1-love, first set. So welcome back as the players have taken a relatively short break at the change of ends. It's Emilio Sánchez serving for his team, trailing love 1. Oh, it's good. Totally mishit from Forget, but he'll take it. Apologises there to his opponent, saying, sorry, I was a bit lucky.
15.
Brad, it's interesting to me to see in the final of this world doubles title we have 4 Europeans, and it wasn't so long ago that Europeans weren't considered to be doubles specialists at all, so I might get your feelings on that for a moment.
That's a big return. You can't hit a ball any harder than that. Just sheer power there. Yes, Europeans really have improved their doubles play over the last 5 years. I think they've realised there's a lot of money to be won, and they've worked hard on it.
Well, Sanchez, break points.
30-40.
Yes, I think the Europeans of yesteryear weren't confident or comfortable at the net when volleying, and certainly these fellows here this afternoon, more than capable volleyers, so much has changed in the world of tennis over the last 7 or 8 years. Oh, he's lifted it long.
Yes.
You mentioned yesterday, though, Bradley, you thought Sanchez was perhaps the weaker of the 2 volleyers in his team, but perhaps from the other point of the scale, he's the better ground stroker.
Well, that's exactly right. When I say weak, he doesn't really miss a lot of volleys, but he sometimes doesn't get enough stick on the ball, doesn't put it away. Very safe volleyer. There's times when you could probably put the ball away, hit him a little harder, but he just pushes it back into play and gives his opponent another bite at the cherry.
Hlasek doesn't like it. Well, here's the shot from reverse angle. Have a look at it yourself. Extremely close. It was beautifully hit. Probably struck well enough to deserve the point. Casal at the net was totally beaten. However, it was called out, so Sanchez with a chance to hold service.
Yes.
If you were with us yesterday, you will recall that Sanchez has tremendous variety on his service. Spins the ball with both topspin and slice, and is also capable of the flat delivery.
Well, you can see the difference here between the volleys of Hlasek and Sanchez. Hlasek hitting them a little harder, coming up with the easy one, just taking his eye off the ball.
Yes, he was able to advance more closely to the net after each volley, as Sanchez's volley had a little less power as the rally progressed, so keep looking for that.
Well, not even Emilio Sanchez could run down that topspin lob. One of the fastest players in the game.
Yes, well, it's the disguise on this shot from the left-hander Forget that really wins it. Once the ball bounces, see how it kicks away, and Sanchez, very little chance of scooping that back. So all these Europeans, of course, grown up a lot on clay, have developed that topspin lob, so we should see plenty of them this afternoon.
Advantage Sanchez.
Oh, what a shot from Sanchez. Very little room to work with. Replaced it superbly. So after staving off 2 break points, Casal and Sanchez are on the board, 1-all.
You can see here, Hlasek didn't move at all. In fact, he almost let it go. The ball was well in.
Shaved head there of Forget, and in fact his partner Hlasek also with the shaved head. They did that just prior to arrival in Australia to, I guess, give themselves a little more motivation, a reason to get a little more excited about this event. So very wisely today with those shaved heads, wearing a cap for protection.
I have to say I was very surprised when I saw those two shaven heads. Both Forget and Hlasek are very conservative, down-to-earth sort of guys. You wouldn't expect them to do something so wild and crazy as shave their heads.
Out! 13-15.
But I suppose 11 hard months on the tennis tour, strange things can happen.
Sure, you're right. So, Hlasek, 30-15. Oh! Forget really punishing anything high. There's the shot from the Spaniard's point of view. The lob, not bad, but Casal only able to defend, and then Forget, lots of venom with that placement down the middle. We've spoken about the ground strokes of Sanchez, Bradley. Which side do you think is the better?
Oh, without a doubt, his forehand. Probably one of the best forehands in the game. He hits with a lot of topspin, a lot of variety. He can hit little dinks cross-court. He can hit topspin lobs, as we've already seen.
Game.
So a good deep serve there from Hlasek, right on the line, giving Casal some problems. So the match is on serve, 2-1, Forget and Hlasek. You're watching the IBM-ATP Tour World Doubles Finals live from Sanctuary Cove on 10 Sports Action. And this is the final, the last match of the tournament. The Europeans to the fore here this week. Casal and Sanchez from Spain against that man there, Hlasek, and his partner Forget. We're in the first set. Casal serving. 1-2. Combination of Casal and Sanchez really have been together the longer of the two. These fellows have won the French Championships this year and the US Open on previous occasions. Or one previous occasion, I should say.
13.
Well, that certainly shows they can play on a hard court similar to this one. The US Open is played on a very similar surface to what we have here at Sanctuary Cove this week. They were also silver medalists in the 1988 Olympics in the doubles event.
Yes, 88 was a good year for them. That was, in fact, the year they won the US Open.
First service. 40-15.
Well, let me sit return here. Casal did well. He had to back, regain his composure.
So there seems to be no chink in the armour of any of the four players at this particular point. Serves have been held. It's 2-all.
Ball.
15.
Guy Forget in 1986 was the #1 ranked doubles player in the world for that year. He's played a lot with Yannick Noah back in those days, his fellow Frenchman. He was very popular out here in Australia.
Ball.
He's also played a lot of doubles with that other flamboyant Frenchman, Henry Leconte.
Well, all week long, the Spaniards have employed the tactic of both being on the baseline when receiving the first service. We'll see Sanchez's partner, Casal, with him there. The reasoning, I would suspect, is that they both quite happy to be counter-punchers. They feel comfortable at the baseline, hitting the big ground strokes. So it's only when the opposition miss their first serve that they push each other forward to the net. Oh, he's missed it. So quick exchanges there at the net, finally going the way of the French-Swiss combination. Forget Hlasek, 3-2, first set. And it's the Spanish combination, a little slower, returning to the court. They spent a considerable amount of time at the change of ends, adding a little electrolytic powder to one of their water containers for a little extra sustenance. Remember, they did play the fifth and deciding set here this morning. Leftover semi-final from yesterday, which they obviously won, and they're here now contesting the final, trailing 2-3 in this first set.
Clever volley there. You saw Guy Forget moving, held his racket head, held it, and popped it down the line.
Oh, shot from Forget. That wasn't easy. The ball was jammed right into the midsection of the Frenchman. Here it is from the other angle there. Casal obviously moving to the middle, not expecting the Frenchman to be able to pull that shot down the line from his awkward position. It's good. Oh, it's not good. I thought it was going to be. This one, not quite enough topspin to bring it down. So, still, no service break in this first set.
Both teams would be quite happy with their start here today. It is a big match. They play good, solid tennis. Neither team has tried anything too fancy as yet. Just trying to settle down the nerves. Keep the error rate down.
We've just had a request from the Spaniards, I think, for a little more quiet at the, well, our end of the court. That's where our cameras are shooting from. The referee came out briefly, but everyone seems quite happy now.
Well, Jakob Hlasek came up with a good volley there, but he's really going to have to watch that. He won't want to have to hit too many second serves to Emilio Sanchez.
Hlasek, that man serving, only taking up this game of tennis at 15 years of age. Spent most of his youth playing ice hockey. Had a few too many broken bones, and his father suggested that he should perhaps think of a injury-prone sport.
30. 14-15.
Forget, his partner, comes from a long family of tennis players. Both father and grandfather were serious championship players. Well, there's that forehand of Sanchez, Brad, that you've been talking to us about.
14-13.
Yes, he can hit it very hard, although I think here Guy Forget was a little slow to react. Had his racket on the right-hand side of his body.
First service.
Yes. Getting back to that last point with Guy Forget, he was, as I mentioned, holding the racket on the right-hand side of his body, preparing for a backhand volley. Really at the net, you should hold the racket straight out in front, so you can move either way for a forehand volley or a backhand volley.
Advantage Hlasek.
So Hlasek holds serve comfortably. His team lead 4-3, first set. So it's the business end of this first set from this point forth. No service break. Casal serving with new balls there, showing them to his opponents, a courtesy gesture. Balls changed after the first 7 games and thereafter every 9. Oh!
Love 15.
Well, that sort of error from a player of Sanchez's class can only be put down to lack of concentration. His mind must have been elsewhere. He won't want to do that too often.
So, now a real opening, and that first point always so critical. Careless volley, you'll recall, from Sanchez opening the door. The first point. Sanchez got a most peculiar stance, in fact, at the net. Here he is here. Now you can look at the stance there. He's really pointing towards the middle of the court. Most unusual.
15-13. 30.
Well, that was the perfect serve to Guy Forget. Guy Forget has beautiful flowing shots. He's a great stroke maker. It's a good idea to keep the ball tight on his body. Don't let him swing at the ball.
Oh, what a shot from Hlasek. As you suggested, Bradley, if you give either of these fellows a bit of room to take a full swing, they're going to make you pay. Here you can see that serve from Casal, not wide enough. It was right in the slot, so break points now for Forget and Hlasek. Oh, what a way to save it. The centered serve would have been down the middle to the left-hander's backhand or at the body, but look at this. Forget, not expecting it. Too much power.
Advantage Casal. For service.
That's the way to recover. Love 30 down. 4 first serves.
Yes, he was tooled too, Casal, about it. Didn't rush, didn't panic. Had confidence in his own ability to place that serve where he wanted it. For all.
I've been interested to see already in this match, Casal and Sanchez have directed a number of lobs to Forget. He certainly has the weakest smash out of he and his partner.
30.
Sanchez made that shot look easy, but it wasn't. It was so close to the net. Have a look here. When Sanchez gets there, he's well inside the service line and the ball's low. Now he's got to quickly lift it up over the highest part of the net and impart enough topspin to bring it down. Great shot. Kicking serve there from Forget. And Brad, as a left-hander yourself, how difficult is it for a right-hander to receive that left-handed kicking service?
Well, quite difficult, especially when you serve to the forehand. It makes the ball move away from the right-hander.
So a comfortable service game, still no break. It's Forget and Hlasek, 5-4, first set. Welcome back to Sanctuary Cove as the crowd has a little stretch here after 9 games of very high quality tennis. There's been no breaks. The players playing, well, perhaps a little bit conservatively, as you would expect for the occasion. It's a final, lots of dollars at stake.
15.
There's been 1 or 2 break point opportunities for either team, and as yet there's been no succession in making that break. Oh.
15.
One of our cameramen there nearly got a racket. He into his lens. Emilio Sánchez making a desperate attempt there to get to that ball and losing his racket in the process.
Ball.
15-13.
Casal, Bradley has looked a bit shaky to me on that forehand volley on a number of occasions. That was a particularly awkward looking shot he attempted there.
He doesn't seem to open the racket face enough on his forehand volley. He hits a bit with a closed racket face. Doesn't get under the ball.
So, when you're serving second, this is what can happen. Let's have a good close-up of this serve. Top spin from Sanchez. He's in quickly. Of course, now when serving second, break points are set points.
Ball.
Oh, and what a way to lose the set. Going for depth and just over pushing. So that's the first set to Forget and Hlasek. 6-4. And almost an anticlimax, Brad, to the end of that first set. The break seemed to come from nowhere.
Yes, it did come from out of the blue. Just a couple of errors. That's all it takes at this level. There's nothing in it at all.
So Forget and Hlasek, who came into this week as 5th seeds, certainly stopped all before them. They were undefeated in their round-robin group. Came back from the brink of disaster yesterday to defeat Davis and Pate. That match that was in fact completed this morning. 2 sets love down they were, but came back, and now they've taken the first set in this final.
Well, Emilio Sánchez had his back to the court, back to the net here. He just had extra vision there, knowing where he wanted to hit the ball.
That point set up by the magnificent lob return of Sanchez. He was stretched wide, got underneath the ball, weighted the shot perfectly. From there on, had the net position and control of the point. So Casal and Sanchez, they need to break early in this set to try and force their way back into this match. Wisely, perhaps, Bradley, the opposition, Forget and Hlasek, going back to Casal when on the baseline. He's perhaps the weaker of the 2 ground strokers.
Yes, he can be a little more brittle off the ground, especially his forehand. He does have a beautiful backhand. So not only did they direct it back to Casal, but they directed it to his forehand.
That's going to win, I think. Disappointment there for Hlasek and Forget. Totally mistimed that shot. bowling. There just wasn't any way through that brick wall of volley strength.
Casal, Sanchez threw everything at their opposition on this point, hitting with tremendous power. These balls are being hit with fantastic speed.
First service. Advantage for you.
Sanchez perhaps might need to consider moving forward a little more on the return of serve. We've got Forget swinging that ball wide, and Sanchez just not moving forward enough to cut it off. So it's Forget and Hlasek who hold serve in the second set. They lead a set and 1-love. So a magnificent afternoon here at Sanctuary Cove and some magnificent tennis. And my co-commentator Brad Druitt has taken a break, and I'm joined by Bill Barry. You've been enjoying this, I know, Bill.
Very interesting match, and as we expected, a very close one too. Just the odd bad shot will cause a breaker serve, and as we saw, Sanchez losing his serve to lose that first set, and he was the man that was vulnerable yesterday in the semi-finals. He had to struggle quite a lot on serve, so that's something that they'll have to attend to if they're going to go on and get back into this match and win the final. So far in the match, we've seen a very solid performance from Hlasek and Forget. Very straight up and down players, if you like. They get a lot of first serves in, first volley deep, and then they're very solid at the net, as we saw in a rally towards the end of that first set. They really played some very solid shots. The Spaniards probably have a little more flair, particularly from that man, Sanchez. But just a little bit of weakness in the service power from Sanchez. Very interesting tussle, this one. On the brilliant of Forget on that return of serve, and this is the first year that they've played together as a regular team, Hlasek and Forget. They've won titles with other players, but now they've teamed up so successfully this year.